client is Dr. Bobet.
Alright, hey everybody, I'm Stephen Strefus. This is Johnny Morrison, it's Ryan Grossclose, Brian Frederick, and Jonathan Noguera. And we are Team Minitech, and as Dr. Alcati has already stated, that's Dr. Teresa Boboff, who is our client. And our project is What is in My Closet.
So the purpose of the project was to create a web-hosted virtual closet organizer, which allows you to kind of make outfits and organize the clothes that you had, and you can lay out your clothes, kind of organize them, and it had supposed to have login features, and you can make different combinations of tops and bottoms.
The technologies we used was primarily HTML5 with the canvas element to display all our images. CSS is basically to keep the website all together and looking uniform throughout. JavaScript with the canvas element, and we used PHP for a lot of the back-end code, server queries, and a little bit of the dynamic HTML display.
Some of the problems that we encountered was initially just kind of getting some of the project requirements defined. It's a little bit hard sometimes if the client doesn't know exactly what they want. They just kind of have a rough idea, trying to sketch out the actual idea in our own heads, and what we're going to do with it kind of makes it a little more difficult. Also, just some small elements in HTML5, but particularly the canvas element was a little bit more difficult to work with. I dealt mostly with the canvas, and trying to get it to refresh the image as I wanted it to paint on there was sometimes a bit of a hassle. As I said, it's getting over our egos and doing something about like a clothes kind of fashion thing. It's not very manly, but we did it anyway just because it's a challenge, and it was kind of fun actually.
All right, so time for our fabulous demo. Our project works best in Firefox 4.0 or better. There's a small little error that we detected in Chrome, and IE just doesn't work completely. So
it's mostly to do with the canvas element. IE has its own way of dealing with HTML5, specifically the canvas element. And so when you go to load it up, and IE just basically goes, I don't know what to do. So.
Here you can see the main layout of our website. We kept it fairly consistent throughout the whole thing, and although throughout the various stages of the project we had different color schemes, and we tinkered around to try and flash a little bit, but ultimately after surveying our target audience, we ended up with this current color scheme.
Yeah, originally we had more of a gray with yellow accents, and it was, normally our target demographic with this would probably be mostly female, just because it has to do with fashion. And so we wanted to be kind of more gender neutral, so that's why we went with a black background that has like a darker purple for some of the text and things like that. Some darker colors that kind of work for any. They're unisex. So you can go ahead and
go ahead and log in. This is a pre-made username that we have, password. And go ahead and log in, and it'll just redirect us back to the home page, or you can click the invisible link there. And tells us who's logged in based on your username when you log in. But we're going to go over here to the main function of our website, the My Closet. And here we display all the items that we have in the database that the user themselves have uploaded. We have combo boxes over here that are populated with preset variables that allow you to set what you want to display and filter out unnecessary clothes. So if I wanted to see all my blue shirts, it'll just show me all my blue shirts that I have designated as blue. And the same with pants. If I wanted, say, my brown pants.
that looks like really dark, but it's actually a brown image.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of looks a little black, but
yeah, it's actually brown.
we got shorts. We can customize by whether we wanted just our brown pants, and it only display the one end.
So you can also save and load outfits down here, so you might as well just make up something real quick and save an outfit. Just name it. Oh, we're making another one in business. That'll be the one and all. We're going on there.
All right, well, we can go ahead and
Yeah.
load up business casual.
So that was one that we already saved earlier called business casual. And you can make whatever you want. I mean, you make some small changes to show them. Just, so just load up and save it as another outfit. So it's saving it as casual Friday. And then you can go back down there. Load up casual Friday. It's at the bottom. Hit load. So done casual Friday. And then over here you see we have a manage my closet on the right. It's where you actually get to add items to your closet and delete them from your closet. See it's at the top, it has your tops, your bottoms, and your outfits listed. You select one, you delete it. Also right here is the main, I guess the bread and butter you would say of our program. It allows the user to upload their own clothes image that they want. They select top or bottom and they pick the attributes designated by that.
So we've already pre-selected ones that we just quickly search. You can call it whatever you want, and it's already default at the top. You just pick any color, short sleeve, and add to your closet. And now it's actually saved onto the closet. So if you go back to my closet, you'll see the image of black shirt.
It'll probably be the other way.
Back the other way.
There it is.
Yeah.
So there you have it. And go into the menu. We were going to originally try to have it to where it only displayed, like, say, top for this, and then if you select bottom, then it displays the options for bottom, but we didn't get time to implement that. So, but if we were to develop this further, what we'd like to actually see are some small things like that just for functionality. But we also had the idea originally, we talked about it if you were here for the prototype, of bringing in something like for the user, instead of, like right now they have to do a fair amount of work. They have to upload their own images. It's kind of a pain. And we realize that. But what we originally kind of want to, or what we want to do eventually with it, is to bring in some kind of either like an Amazon or Google Checkout or Google Shopping kind of feature where they can search for clothes and it'll get the image already and add it to our database with the attributes for the clothes automatically for the user, so they don't have to do as much work. And that also works that we can have a link to buy the outfit or whatever the article of clothing was that they selected automatically if they like it enough. So it becomes almost like a virtual wish closet, you know. And it also means you can make money off of it, so that's always nice.
And just a couple other pages. About us, basically, a short little snippet about the 5 of us. Contact us would just put in the email subject message, and it'll send a email to admin@whatisinmycloset.com that any of us could access. And
Why don't you create it?
yeah, go ahead and log out. And
you go to register and just put in a username. And also, like, press enter right now and say you got HTML5 to do checking on that.
yeah, the first name, middle initial, and last name is optional. Right now, since we really didn't expand the database and our other functionality, it is kind of just there for right now.
So when you go ahead and register, and you can see that when you go, after you register, you can log in, and it'll take you back to his closet. So he's logged in, and when you first go to his closet, you can see what you actually see. It just shows you that you have no tops on the bottom, so it just lets you know to go and add your own stuff. Pretty much that's it. Open the floor for questions. Do you have any questions? Anybody? Matt?
So why did you decide to use Canvas elements rather than say a jQuery plugin or something? Did you change the images?
Honestly, it was just kind of an idea that was thrown around from the beginning, was to try to use HTML5. I mean, everybody kind of heard a lot about it, and I've never worked with HTML5, so I just wanted to see what it was like.
What's your target audience? You mentioned it earlier.
Really, it's meant to be a unisex kind of thing where it could be either or, but we know that we're kind of, it's going mostly towards females traditionally. have more of an interest in fashion. But I guess you'd say females would be more of our target demographic, yes. Shane?
You say that your target audience is mainly women, and by tradition, they have a lot of shoes, and there's nothing for shoes in your
Yeah.
entire program. Second question to follow that up is, what happens if they only need one shoe?
We might have some, I guess you would say, special needs things in the future for stuff like that, or maybe one's pants leg or something. Just kidding.
I'm curious about your decision to exclude IE. Why did y'all exclude IE considering it does have a large market share and there are resources out there like MSDN that can easily have answered your questions pertaining to its implementation of JavaScript as it pertains to HTML5 and now it renders?
Honestly, we kind of got along into development when we discovered that IE has its own way of doing canvases, which was a completely different canvas element than what standard HTML5 uses. So we kind of got to the point late in development where we were like, well, do we have time to go back and do this, or do we just want to get the main functionality of the program done? And that's what we did.
We probably could have written like some JavaScript so that it would check your browser, and if it doesn't support HTML5, then it would go into using JavaScript checking.
Anybody else?
Are there any back-end management functions for managing who's registered or usage like that, turning people on and off?
We're using like session variables basically to keep track of who's logged in and on each user's, and so that's how we keep track of like the user ID, and that gets passed to each PHP form that does our functions.
Did you look at any of the JavaScript graphics libraries, like say Reppy Alpha doing that, that's cross-browse already?
No. Other questions?
Yeah, right quick. Could you guys go one by one and tell me the most difficult thing that you encountered?
Well, for me, it was definitely trying to get the images to actually display like reliably, because a lot of times I got it working where it would work all the time on my computer, and then they would go to try and work it, and it wouldn't work, or it would work with the images that were basically already cached on your hard drive, but then it wouldn't work at all sometimes, where it just wouldn't display any images. And then we went into Google Chrome and nothing worked, so we were like, all right, well, what's going on here? And it ended up being a really easy fix to get the images to display. John?
For me, it was the filters. Having it to save the filter variables and go back and repopulate it to which one was selected and keep going. I had a lot of problems with that because...
You mean across both stacks?
Yeah, exactly. And I was also found out that MySQL doesn't support wildcards in the where statement. So when I discovered that, that changed a couple of things.
Mostly for me, it was whenever adding something new visually, it was trying to maintain the general scheme of everything without making it look like it didn't belong there.
I think for me it would be trying to work with forms using like, instead of having it to refresh the page, just have it like on the fly load something.
In the original iteration of the program, we were doing it a lot in Flash. I moved over to this. The big problem with that was that it was really hard to get an abstraction layer of PHP between ActionScript and SQL queries.
How often do you meet with the client and taking their advice on the design?
It's about once every 2 weeks. We got to the point where she actually had said, you know, basically y'all can kind of have free reign to do what y'all want. Basically, she just had that she wanted to be able to add items to the closet and remove them and basically see them and scroll through them, and that was all she wanted. So she's like, anything y'all have beyond that, just go on.
So what percentage of your requirements do you have covered in the application?
I'm sorry?
What percentage of your requirements do you have covered in the application?
I believe we have 100% of our requirements covered because we have it to where the user can upload their pictures, they can sort through them, they can add new ones, they can scroll through them, and they can save and load their outfits, and that was the general requirements of the application. So 100%. Anyone else? Any more questions?